Welcome once again to Tired Old Queen of the Movie, starring Mr. Steve HAYES. This week, Stephen takes us abroad for a suspenseful thriller that is sure to give you a fright. Shall we?
Johnny! Oh.
Tired Old Queen of the Movies.
Johnny, I always wanted to do one of the British thrillers because I just love whodunits. And I looked around. For me, the Brits have always cornered the market on them, from Agatha Christie to Dorothy Sayers, right up to Ruth Rendell. So I'm going to recommend for you a movie by a producer-director team called Launder and Gilliat, who are very much like Powell and Pressburger, who did Black Narcissus and the Red Shoes. And this movie is called Green for Danger from 1946. This movie stars Alistair Sim, who we recently saw in Stage Fright, that wonderful character actor, as Inspector Cockrell.
Cockrell, Inspector Cockrell. Yes, Scotland Yard, I'm afraid.
And it also stars Trevor Howard, Leo Genz, Sally Gray, Rosamund Johns, Megs Jenkins, who are all really wonderful, wonderful British actors at the time. Sally Gray was sort of like a Lauren Bacall, British type, blonde and gorgeous, had a kind of a husky voice.
Not really.
This movie takes place in an operating theater during World War II, during the London Blitz, when the doodlebugs, those rockets the Germans were sending over, would just drop out of the sky. And a postman who has gotten caught in one of the bombings, has to have minor surgery, and they wheel him into this operating room. And he dies during a relatively routine operation. Now, the anesthetist is played by Trevor Howard, and this has happened to him once before, so all the suspicion sort of falls on him that he messed it up and he caused a problem and he might have killed a patient. Meanwhile, the head doctor, played by Leo Genz, has been putting the moves on Sally Gray, and Judy Campbell, who is this character actress very similar to Kathleen Byron in Black Narcissus, who played Mad's Sister Ruth. She's got that intensity. Well, she's the head nurse, and she's madly in love with Leo Genz' doctor, and she sees him going after this nurse. So that night at a party, her jealousy just gets the better of her, and she runs up to this balcony and she goes,
Listen, everybody. I'm sorry to interrupt the dancing, but I have an important announcement to make. A patient called Higgins died in the theater this morning. It wasn't natural causes, and it wasn't an accident. Shall I tell you what it was? Murder.
and she runs out. Well, she goes down to the operating theater because she's got something hidden there, a piece of evidence. And as she's looking for it, she hears a noise behind her. And she turns, and someone is standing behind her in full operating garb, holding a scalpel. And the next thing, she's dead. They pull in Inspector Cockrell. Now, Alistair Sim was the great comic character actor in British movies. He was the best Scrooge that ever was. He was also in Launder and Gilliat's Bells of St. Trinian's, about the girls' school. He played in drag the headmistress. He was an amazingly funny man. So he plays Inspector Cockrell sort of with his tongue in his cheek, you know, and he'll say things to Trevor Howard like, what's the first thing that you did at the operation? Hmm? Trevor Howard goes, well, the first thing I did was I applied the nitrous oxide to put the patient under.
It's the stuff the dentist gives you, commonly known as laughing gas?
Used to be. Actually, the impurities cause the laughs.
Oh, just the same as our music halls.
He's just got all this stuff going on. And Megs Jenkins is sort of like the Eve Arden character. You know, he'll say to them, well, I hope you've got your alibis cooked up.
Did you get us here just to insult us?
I only like to strike an informal note. Well?
I've cooked mine up, Inspector.
I hope it's good.
Oh, done to a turn.
So it keeps moving on, and gradually, as things start piling up, they're all so nice that there's no way that any of these people could be a murderer. And yet one of them is, because the bodies start piling up. And since the story's told in flashback, he says at the beginning of the film, by the third day, 2 people were dead, and one of these people was a murderer. The reason I love this movie is because you cannot figure it out until the end. It's one of the few times in cinema where a whodunit actually was to the very end.
You were implying that one of us did it?
Well, it seems very likely, don't you think?
Inspector Cockrell, I really can't help feeling that there must be some relatively innocent explanation of this terrible business.
Why, please don't be fatuous.
Really?
It's just one of the best old mysteries you're going to see. Launder and Gilliat's. Green for danger. The killer is.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Too much luggage?
Oh,
hi, guys.
Ourselves a treat.
delicious things to eat.